I'd like to call the meeting to start, and if someone could, someone want to do the Pledge of Allegiance? Someone maybe in the audience? Anyone care to do the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I want to thank you all for coming today. We are going to have public comment in just a few minutes. It's restricted this because we're trying to get through in 2 hours. We've had to restrict the public comments, so we have 15 minutes up front. We did have a sign-up sheet, and 15 minutes at the end of the meeting so that people can comment on what may have been said today, okay? I want to make just one statement. I've gotten several requests for information that the general public is very concerned because they've heard that the board has been discussing and considering or going to be banning books. I want to assure you, I have never, to my knowledge, discussed, the board has never discussed banning books. It will not be done. It's not a concern, you know, so just to reassure you, okay? The only other thing I want to point out that when people get up in public comment, we all trust that's what's being said is accurate, okay? And so when you get up, and it might be, you might have a concern, you may have heard a rumor, or you might have seen something on social media and stuff, and you want to question if it's true. Okay, in that case, we would tell you it's yes or no, it's not going to happen. Other than that, public comment is that a public comment, and we don't have a discussion on it. But what happens is anyone who wants to send me an email is welcome to do so, and you will be answered, and you will get the answer, okay? So I'd like to open this up to public comment, and we have a sign-up sheet, so the first person.
Did anybody not sign up? I don't think that the community knew that there was a sign-up sheet, so.
I did say it several times as people were coming in. I did say it several times.
You're speaking.
Richard Polinsky, 89 Hall Road, Londonderry, New Hampshire. I want to bring up what was put out on social media last night by one of the board members. It says, before we head into the emergency meeting, which this is not, this is a special meeting, it's not an emergency meeting, of the Board of Trustees tomorrow, just remember this was designed to be a meeting of only 4 members. Okay, let's put out truthful information. All members were invited to that meeting. Some couldn't make it for various reasons. Part of the reasons why I suggest you have alternates, because then you could have moved those alternates up and had 7 people there. So if you're going to put stuff on social media, make sure it's accurate, because that's not accurate. It goes on to say, goes on to talk about the agenda, both printed and the less transparent one. Can somebody give me a copy of the less transparent one? Because I'd like to see it. It says, until we drop off, they drop to get here, they put a list of people that weren't going to make it. Aaron, Donna Plant, Nancy, Helen, and Beth Morocco. First of all, Donna Plant is not required to be at these, and quite frankly shouldn't be at these, because you're paying comp time for her to be here, and there's no reason for her to be here. This particular meeting is about finances, and the finances are the purview of this board, not the director or the assistant director of the library. So the fact she's here is fine, but it's not a requirement. So let's get the facts right. Beth, the other one putting these out, and I'm not afraid to say who it is, let's get them right. Another thing to go along with that is you're the recording secretary of this board. As of this morning, there are no minutes of the last meeting posted. They're required to be posted within 5 business days, which was last Wednesday, technically Tuesday if you count Saturday, your screen's out on your timer. So they're not done, which is another violation in 91A. I've been bringing this up since last October, and they keep happening. The law says no exceptions. End of discussion. So let's not try to incite trouble where trouble doesn't need by putting in things that are not true. The chair can call for a special meeting or an extra meeting with 24 hours notice. 4 of you people on this board can do the same thing, and 4 of you ask for it. You had a week's notice on this. I knew about it, I'm not on the board, so let's not try to say something that it isn't. Another thing that I have a problem with.
I'm sorry, was this time up?
No,
No,
just,
I'm
Oh, I'm
watching.
sorry, go ahead.
my thing was
Okay.
dark.
Another problem I have is the people voted $32,310 to put in a part-time children's librarian. The numbers that were put out by the director were $26.69 an hour for 30 hours, $800.70 per week. That equals $41,636 for the year. You can't do that. You have $32,310 to work with. That's what the people voted in. That's all you can spend. There's no prorating, there's no playing games with the numbers, that's what it is. The position can't be turned into a full-time position because it was done as a part-time on the warrant article without rewriting and passing a new warrant article. So let's get the numbers correct, because those are the numbers that were presented at the last meeting. All right, 32,310, that's it. And as far as benefits on these positions that I've seen, benefits on part-time people are only can only be given at the discretion of this board. So there was a tech that was up that was being advertised with some benefits, which was at more on a yearly basis than the children's librarian. And I asked a couple of the people on this board, and they said, we never okayed that. So that's right in your bylaws. Who's reading these and who's following it? It doesn't seem to be happening. Let's get our, let's get everything in order and do it the way it's supposed to be done. I know people don't like me up here talking, but I'm sorry. The business end of this library is an absolute mess. The front end may be fine, I don't look at that. Patrons that seem to be very happy, and that's great. But there's still requirements on how you're supposed to do things. Stop doing them.
Thank you.
Okay, 10 seconds. You can make it into the time.
Next.
Okay. Let's just restart stuff.
Hi, my name is Colleen Majors, and I am on staff here at the Leach Library. At the end of July, I will have been on staff here for 14 years. I am coming today to express my great concern over what has been occurring at the board meetings over the last year, and especially in the last couple of months. The actions of the board have greatly impacted Aaron and Donna and their ability to effectively do their jobs. And now the actions of the board are not only impacting administration, but are having an impact on other staff here at the library as well. I would like to share with you very briefly how the actions of the board have impacted me as a staff member. It has been said in multiple board meetings that the treasurer does not write the treasurer's report. I am that staff member who prepares the report. I have been preparing the treasurer's report for over 10 years now. There have been multiple treasurers in that time frame. Pauline Karen, Vicki Stikowski, Carol Entrone, and now Jan. When I first started, it was the treasurer Pauline who hand wrote the report. I typed up the report and checked the figures. If anything needed to be adjusted, I would let the director know, and then the director would reach out to the treasurer. There became a time when Pauline was no longer able to prepare the report, so the director asked me to prepare the report, and then Pauline still checked over all the figures before it was presented to the board and approved. I have no problem with Jan writing the treasurer's report. All the information given to the treasurer is the same information I use to compile the report. The report would still need to be checked over before the board meeting, and any discrepancies would need to be adjusted ahead of time. I would like to address the treasurer's report for January through March of 2025 that was approved at the last board meeting on June 4th. Moore asked if Jan had checked over the figures for the report. Jan responded she had not checked over the report. This was extremely frustrating to me as a staff member who does the report and tries to have it prepared in a timely manner for Jan to look over. It went in Jan's mailbox on April 16th, and 7 weeks later, it still had not been reviewed or checked over. In the interest of transparency, I would like to present you with the facts, and I would like you all as board members to go back and look at the treasurer's report as if you are auditors. We are audited every year by the same auditors as the town. The treasurer's reports are included in that yearly audit, along with bank statements, check registers, invoices, etc. I know the auditors are going to have questions, especially pertaining to your trustee account. The numbers on this report are an accurate reflection of your bank statements. However, when preparing this report, I noticed that there were a bunch of missing checks. The check numbers cashed in this time frame were 627, 629, 631, and 633. Upon finishing the report, I immediately went to Donna and Aaron to ask if they knew what happened to all the missing checks. They were both unaware of the situation, and looking into this more, we discovered that checks 626, 628, and 630 were all voided. It looks like they were all voided because of mistakes on the checks. It's okay. We are all human. We all make mistakes. But at the very least, the treasurer needs to say something to the director. When checks need to be voided on the book account, a memo has to be written for the voided check with all the pertinent information: date, vendor, amount, reason for voiding the check. It is kept for the auditor, so there is a paper trail. This leaves one check unaccounted for. On closer look, check 632 was written on February 5th in the amount of $19.23 to Jan McLaughlin by Jan. Aaron notified Liz and Helen of the situation and explicitly said that she was not trying to get Jan in trouble, but policies and procedures needed to be reviewed. As of the May bank statement, the check has not been cashed, nor is it with the other voided checks. If the check is missing altogether, that is another issue. I'm not telling you as a board what needs to be done in this situation. However, being that it is almost the end of the fiscal year, this needs to be addressed accordingly so that we can accurately answer the auditor's questions. I am greatly concerned that the board will be making financial decisions today that will have an impact on being able to efficiently and accurately close out the fiscal year. It doesn't all wrap up on June 30th. The fiscal year end transition
Time
is
is
a
up.
process.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, did someone say something?
Yes, I think she should speak. I think Mrs. Squirton is.
Well, I'm sorry, her time is up. Someone else would not have to speak for her to do that, okay? So, who signed up? No, I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you very much. You know what, I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay, that's enough. Let's have some
When I will have a
decorum.
written statement, thank you, I will publicize that for you.
Listen, that is not part of your job, okay? Beth, you may do that as an individual, not as a board member, or particularly
Well,
not as a
and we-
secretary. Okay.
Madam Treasurer.
I'll take your statement, I'll publicize
Madam
it.
Hang
Treasurer,
on.
Madam Treasurer, point of order. I would be happy that we would get a copy of the report since none of us have seen it.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody.
This is, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm going to speak. I said I wasn't gonna speak, I'm gonna speak. How dare anyone come up here and suggest, after Erin has already reported that she thinks there might have been an impropriety, how dare they come up in public in a recorded session and make statements like that? They should have checked with Erin. What I told Erin is that Jan, as an officer of the trustees, went into the library and requested to get her reports printed. She was refused by a staff member, and Erin disagrees with this.
I do.
But she was refused to do that, not once but twice.
That is-
I was there.
I'm sorry, excuse me. You were there for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
I
right?
was there when that happened.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, let's continue this.
Just
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you right now, okay?
Okay.
I warned Erin that she cannot be turning away.
Point of order, you said at the beginning that you were going to not say anything.
Excuse
and
me.
You would be able to
You're out of
get
order.
an
You
email
have
and
not
talk.
been
Why
recognized.
are you speaking
You
to
have,
her?
if you
that way?
continue to talk, we'll ask you to
You
leave.
said point of order at the beginning.
If you
that
continue to talk,
We're going to not talk.
second warning, third warning,
Give me
you're
5.
leaving.
You said at the beginning
Okay,
that
excuse me, you
were
need to
not-
leave right now.
I'm not gonna leave.
Oh, good. Jan,
Debbie
I want the
DeRochers,
police call
25
right now.
Royal Lane.
Christine, will you dial it, please?
Documented.
Okay, we are not
You
gonna
said
let,
you were
we
not
are not
going
gonna
to
let
talk.
the general
Now
public take
you
over
are.
these
What
meetings
is the
from
point
now
of order
on.
that you're gonna follow?
It's inappropriate. You're out
Very
of order.
inappropriate right now.
You're out of order.
Thank you.
I hope you realize you are.
No, I'm not out of order.
Do we
I said
need to
point
call,
of order.
do we need to call the police?
Oh, please. Oh, my God.
Excuse me, go ahead, call them.
Seriously.
I asked you to leave. I asked you to leave. You're out of order, okay?
Always have been, my love. Always will be. I'll stay
Oh,
there.
my God.
Anyone who's standing, there are chairs available if you'd like to sit, just to let you know, okay? This is why we have a meeting today, because we can never, ever get anything done, okay? Next person, is there a third person?
I'm sure there's another person.
Yes, Kim.
The person was asked to stop speaking and refuses to.
I think we need to stop the phone call. My
Please,
name is.
seriously.
Yeah, I think we'll all leave if the police come, we should all. Oh, no, we wouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah. I got one of the free spots that were available. Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Kim. Kim's trying to speak, okay?
My name's Kim Beers, 19 Adams Road. I'm here to speak on behalf of the library, the trustees, and the libraries in general. I'm sorry, my voice is, I'm a little nervous. I have a different view of all of this because I am a professional librarian with an MLS, a professional children's librarian for my entire career. When I voted for, as a citizen of Londonderry, when I voted for the job coming up, I voted for an MLS because that's what that job requires. I am also the former chair of this trustee board. I had to leave due to medical reasons, but I had to come back because I've been watching these things online. I'm just so upset. I hate to be emotional, I really do, but I'm so sad. I'm sad on a federal level for what's happening to the libraries. I'm sad on a state level for what's happening to the libraries. And I'm sad for my town. This is not how it's supposed to be. All we want to do is give people of this town the best library that they could have, that they deserve. We're not hiding anything. We're not out to get anybody. We're not. This is just ridiculous, people. It's ridiculous. I was the head of Children's Services here. I built this building as the head of Children's Services. I was proud of this library. I'm proud of it now. But let me tell you, there's been some dark times here for the last 20 years. Erin and this staff, you don't know, you haven't worked in the library. You don't know how wonderful this staff is. You don't know how lucky you all are. And by the way, my last job was for 12 and a half years as a part-time MLS children's librarian. And I worked way more than my part-time hours. And that's what we do. We're a team, librarians, we're a team. And I'm sick to my stomach. I truly am sick to my stomach watching this. Watching from my house on you know. Many of us are.
I just want you people, please, just stop. Just stop. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay. Would someone like to speak? We have a couple minutes. You may speak.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. You have 4 minutes.
Alicia,
Okay, left.
Alicia, who am I talking to? Alicia Frank, 96 Millstone Drive. I'd like to finish Colleen's thoughts. I'm greatly concerned that the board will be making financial decisions today that will have an impact on being able to efficiently and accurately close out the fiscal year. It doesn't all wrap up on June 30th. The fiscal year end transition is a process that takes time, usually about a month or two. I would like to suggest as a board that you take a look at how your current trustee account check register looks right now. The library staff have nothing to do with recording, keeping, or reconciling your trustee account. The trustee account register is handled by the treasurer. Before implementing any drastic financial changes, You might want to get that register in order or make sure that register is an accurate reflection of your bank statements. It is this situation and many other situations, along with the lack of respect for Erin and the library staff, that make me extremely concerned with the direction of the board. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Liz, is there any time left? Is there any time left?
She was asking if there's any time
I
left.
take a minute.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes left.
Sherry Farrell, your Londonderry Town Clerk, 4 Hancock Drive. This is quick. This is amazing. It's so sad what's going on, and my kudos to the person. Love you, that's amazing. I always say, Town Clerk, Tax Collector's Office is the heart of the community. I am wrong. People come in, babies, seniors, everyone in between. Our library, with Erin's direction and her incredible team, they are the heart of this community. And they always, and what you have done, kudos. I hear from the public, and I've never heard a negative word. And I thank you for the citizens, and you are the heart of this community.
Thank you.
Because you open those doors, you welcome everyone, you turn no one away. We do too, but man, you gotta speak. So, and
Thank
to your
you.
entire team, thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're gonna go into old business now, okay? So, Jan?
Yep.
She's going, as our treasurer, we're gonna be leading the charge today on the meetings.
Okay.
And what
So
is
the
there a
agenda?
particular sheet that we
On the
should be
agenda.
referring to?
So for board members, your packet has some items. One item that needs to be taken out is a voucher from the Arts Council. I gave you a separate one that needs to go into it, and the correct one was put out there on the table for folks.
So take this out with the
Take
red.
that one out, because I just clicked on the wrong file. This is the other one. There were some of these over there that wanted this, okay? So that's the first thing. Okay. So, bank accounts, we began talking about bank accounts last time. Between then and now, Citizens Bank has the 4 of us, Erin, Helen, Liz, and myself on the bank. But we talked about perhaps we need to think about another bank account, a bank to use. It was suggested by one of the members of the public, and I went to Citizens Bank and I went to TD Bank about their business bank accounts. And with Citizens Bank, if we go into the bank and speak to someone, they can't talk to us about the account because it's not handled there, they say, since they've shortened the size of the account, the size of the branch here, they don't have people that are set up for everything.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
The police are here and they don't know if they should be leaving or talking to someone. Do you want to invite the police officer in?
Do you want me to go out?
I'll go talk to you. Thank you very much.
Take a break.
Thank you, Megan.
Take a break.
Liz,
Liz, you want to take a break?
do you want to take
Yeah, we'll break that 2 minutes, okay?
Thank you. Go ahead. Good. She said to substitute this one to this. Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'll call the meeting back to order.
So at Citizens Bank, they do not have a representative that can deal with the account directly. For a year and a half, I was signing checks that I didn't realize were not, I was not on the account. So it's concerning that they didn't verify the signature on the checks during that time. At St. Mary's Bank, they have someone on staff at the branches that you can go to about any of the business accounts. It may not be the first person you go to. There's always a multiple people there. So they may have to ask for the other person to take you, but they do have folks there. Like Citizens, there's no charge for the nonprofit business accounts. But you do have to pay a $5 membership fee for becoming a member of the
Credit union.
Credit union, thank you. Good, credit union. So that's for that. TD Bank, they have implemented charges for each of their business accounts, and that is accurate for their nonprofits as well. It's either $10 or $15 depending upon the amount in the account, and that's a monthly charge. So I don't think they're a good option. The nice part about TD Bank is they have extended hours, so it makes it easier for somebody to make a deposit. I think that I would recommend moving it to St. Mary's from the standpoint that it was recommended by someone in the audience here. In going and checking it, I would recommend changing it from the standpoint that they have not accurately, Citizens have not accurately taken part of our. So.
More?
Did you ask whether or not they checked the signature cards at all these places?
Yes.
Okay.
What they said at St. Mary's is it comes up on the screen when a check is being cashed, so they verify it based on the screen. And TD Bank, they said the same thing, that they have a screen that comes up that says that. Citizens, they couldn't tell me why they couldn't verify it because I couldn't talk to them at that time because I wasn't on the account that was in question. So they couldn't tell me whether they verified signatures or not, but obviously they did not. They did pay all the checks, so there was not any problem with the checks. They did verify that they had the money, so they did pay the checks. But
Beth is next. I'll get to Erin.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah.
Is there a third contract, and do we have like the paperwork to look at?
well, there's no contract. It's you either open an
Like
account or you don't.
You know, but like the written statements about what their policies are.
I believe I gave you a link to look at for the things. We're not setting up a contract. It's opening an account.
But
so.
an account is a legal contract. So I know we always require 3
Beth, I'm
contracts.
sorry, we have 3. We have the existing one, but 2 more, okay?
But
So
we're
we do
looking to
have 3.
replace it.
Nancy?
Madam Chair, I believe
Yes.
that has to be on an agenda and come before the public.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I believe that if we're going to kind of solicit a new bank, I believe that that's a business item, and that needs to be on an agenda for business discussion at a future time so that the community can be involved in that. It would be like getting a quote for from any other vendor.
Okay, it was listed as bank accounts, but
Right. I think it has to be a separate item on an agenda, so that the public can know that we're looking to solicit a new bank account or bank, and these are the ones that we are considering. I believe that has to be, in the interest of
Okay.
transparency,
in
I believe
respect
that
to you,
yes.
in
Make a
respect to
motion.
you, because you know, you can make a motion to defer this to our next meeting.
We don't, I don't even know that it has to be deferred. I think that's a matter of transparency for the public. It needs to be on another agenda.
Again, in deference to you, okay, I respect all of my
I know
trustees
you
here.
do.
And in deference to you, we will make it on the next agenda. It will be clearly stated,
Thank you, ma'am.
but we are not gonna defer it after that.
That's fine. I
Okay.
just think it's, we just have to be transparent to our public.
Yes, okay,
Thank you,
thank
Madam
you,
Chair.
you're welcome. Erin, I'm gonna get you, but I need to have the board get their turn first. Go ahead, Maura.
So I'm concerned because they didn't check the signatures on the account. And, that effectively means we were engaging in fraud. And I would prefer to move the bank account immediately, because I don't think we should continue doing that. We know about it, we've known about it for what, like 2 weeks? And I'm gonna ask this right up front. Does this mean that we're gonna have to schedule another meeting this month to have it on the agenda?
Yes,
Okay. Okay,
yes.
let me know the date and time.
Erin?
Can I ask when this all transfer of funds will be happening? Because we're coming to the end of the fiscal year. This will cause a major problem as far as reconciliations and paying our vendors. And I'm concerned about being delinquent on some vendors or just having an issue with the auditor, all of that. So I would ask that we talk to Colleen to see when the best time to transfer funds of this nature would be. I don't think being at the end of a fiscal year when you have to close everything out and reconcile everything is the best time. The board can do what it wants.
So it's June 30th, right?
June 30th is the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, yes,
I
Helen.
just wanted to say I agree with Laura. I find it concerning that we've had this situation with the bank that we weren't aware of, and I agree with you that this is something that needs to be dealt with. But I totally agree that I don't want to cause more difficulty with the end of the fiscal year and everything that needs to be transpired. So I would think that we need to wait at least till after July 1.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The citizens, the St. Mary's, if we move to St. Mary's, we can set everything up and decide on a date within 30 days to fund the account. So it doesn't have to happen instantly. You don't have to take the check in like an individual person would. Normally you would go in and you'd take your money in and open up an account with the money. But because it's a business account, they would allow us 30 days to fund the account. So that would give us the time to make sure that all of the bills have been paid from the book account and that we can reconcile that information. So we could set it up without having it be an immediate funding situation because we are at the end of the year. My thought for doing it now versus in the middle of the year is that at least we would have the bank account going forward. We would have a bank account that could be taken care of, and that we know is going to check the signatures, and that will give chance time to print the checks or whatever else that has to happen between the opening of the account and funding.
I'm gonna recognize myself, okay? Basically, what I'm hearing, I'm hearing from the library, staff, that it's a bad time to do it, okay? And I'm hearing from some of my trustees that we are at risk legally, and there's I would assume that there's not gonna be a problem, but you can't work on assumptions, okay? So what I would suggest, as Jan said, it's gonna take 30 days to set it up. We're within, 40 days or 45 days of going into the new budget year, okay? Going in at July 1st. No, we're in June, we're within
in
2
June
weeks.
already, so
We're in 2 weeks, okay? So it's gonna take that long to set it up. We can vote now to set, I'm sorry, please, let me finish what I'm saying, okay? We can vote now to set up an account starting in July, but get the paperwork done, because we know it's gonna take 30 days to get the paperwork done. Maura?
I do also like the idea of supporting a local business, because St. Mary's has been in town for a while, because they're in the old town hall building. So I would like to make a motion that we start the process to transition the bank account to St. Mary's.
Do we have a second?
I think,
Okay, we're gonna take a vote, okay? Okay. Erin, would you
I
like to?
think the motion needs to clarify that you're moving both the trustee and the book account to clarify that both of these accounts are being moved to that new bank. And please clarify when that will take place.
Can you just slightly rephrase that to
Do you wanna
include the two
discuss
accounts?
the accounts separately, cause we could do two separate motions?
No, we're gonna
Just wanna
move them
do one?
both together.
Okay.
Do them
So I
both
make
and
a
then take.
motion to transition both the book account and the trustee account to St. Mary's Bank, starting the process now and completing the transition within 30 days.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh.
Again,
Discussion.
I don't disagree that this is problematic, and I agree with Moira, this is very concerning. But in the interest of transparency, I believe that this has to be on an agenda.
Okay, we have to move on. We have an amendment.
I understand.
Anyone can approve it or
A
pass,
discussion,
But there's
or fail
discussion
it, but,
after
yeah.
any motion, so that's.
Jan?
In discussion about that, we did discuss last meeting, about the possibility of, changing the banks as a result of this. So it's not that we haven't discussed this prior, it has been a discussion in the prior meeting.
You know, I would also like to point out that we have an other category that we're allowed to introduce in a discussion, even though it's not on the agenda. And the problem is at this point in time, we have concerns about the validity of the way our accounts are held. This is trustee accounts. We're not comfortable with the way that they're being held. And the concern that someone could write a check that's nobody involved with the library and cash it, okay? So we have a motion, we need to have a vote on the motion before we go on. You can vote for or against the motion, but we need to have the motion.
It's legally a discussion time.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Beth, you're right, perfectly right. We are gonna have a discussion. Okay, why don't you start the discussion?
We've been having some discussion about that.
Yes, yeah, we've been having discussion.
Like we said before, I'm just concerned that this was the first time we were discussing the specifics of these accounts at this meeting, and then to turn around and vote on it doesn't seem appropriate. I'm in agreement that we need to change it, I'm in agreement that we need to look at it, but the way I previously handled things before was we had to discuss these things first and vote the next time. I don't wanna hold things off anymore, but I'm just trying to say that we've discussed many times that people are unhappy when we get information at a meeting and then have to turn around and vote on it. Other people have been very upset about this on this board. So I just wanna make sure that we're following the same routine for everything.
And again, this was a discussion at the last meeting.
No, but not these specifics on these
But
banks.
we weren't discussing specific banks, so if I may,
no, I mean,
I'm just, you know what? I see dissension here. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to turn down the amendment, but we have to vote on the amendment. We've had discussion back and forth saying the same things. Do you have something unique to say that we haven't just discussed yet?
I do have a position on the board and I'd like to be part of the discussion.
You were just recognized a couple of times and we spoke about it. But go ahead.
I'm in agreement that it is concerning that citizens was not checking the signatures. I'm in agreement that we, as a board, should find a new banking institution. Bringing up a topic of, hey, we should think about moving banks is not a discussion. So it's just a casual conversation. A discussion means that it's on an agenda, we have documents, we have financial information, we have what does a contract with that bank look like so that we can make an informed decision. We cannot replace the bank's poor decision to not check signatures with another poor decision, which would be to jump into a banking institution without doing the research and taking into consideration. Moments ago, you told Nancy that in deference to her, this was going to be something that we put on an agenda for another meeting, and then seconds later, we're in this vote.
Okay, I'm sorry. We can't continue. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to make an amendment to the
Yes.
motion, that would say that, that we would be moving the money to a different bank, after the next meeting, after the vote on the next meeting. So, I'd like to make a motion that, amendment to the motion said that this would happen after the next meeting, which is July 9th, I think.
John,
I need a second.
do you have, you might have, yeah, a point of,
No point of wonder, Madam Chair, if I may offer, that the town just did this in a public meeting with the finance director. They moved from Citizens to TD Bank. Perhaps the finance director can offer some assistance to the trustees and give them the process for doing this so that he may be helpful. Just information to share.
thank you very much. Okay. Okay. I think I'm gonna call the vote right now.
Can we,
based
do I have a
on-
second?
on-
Do I have a second?
Do you have a second?
on the
Wait,
amendment.
second.
I would
Okay,
say,
can you
is
repeat it?
everyone clear?
So-
Yeah, we should repeat it one more
the
time.
amendment, so the amendment and the motion, the amendment would be that we would, not move to, or not decide on the bank and move the monies until after the next, trustee meeting. But that we would move the bank, both accounts to, some bank, at this point.
Can I just add to that motion? That we would include upon discussion with the town financial manager,
Sure.
okay?
It's
Yes,
interesting
Erin.
that they are just have changed from Citizens as well.
Okay, Aaron, I'm gonna take one more, I'm gonna let Aaron interject, and then we're gonna take a roll call, okay?
Okay, so I just wanted to express my concerns about, I have a lot of questions about how who's going to move this money, who's going to be tracking this money got moved. I am concerned about the amount of money that's in these accounts and that they will be moved. We are also starting a new fiscal year where we will be ordering materials that will be paid out of that book account that we use Quicken to pay with. That no information has been shared with my staff on how that transition will happen. I don't feel, I would like to speak as the director and the one who basically pays the bills here, that I am concerned about the movement of this money, who is going to be moving the money, what that looks like, and how we will get information in order to do our job so that we are not delinquent on paying bills. I'm very concerned about how this is all happening without any sort of process or procedure or anything written or anybody assigned to it specifically or any vote or any discussion really about how this is happening. I have no problem changing the banks, that's your decision, but you have to understand on our end how that will affect us. That's all.
Point taken, thank you for it.
Okay.
More?
Just a question. So are you saying that you have QuickBooks attached to the trustee account?
No, that's not what I said. We pay out of so as it has been said before and clarified before, the town votes on a budget. In our budget is our book and materials line. That book money gets transferred twice a year. So it's split in half. It gets transferred twice a year into the book account. The book account is what we pay our vendors out of. And we use that, we process those checks. Jan has come in and signed those checks so that those bills can be paid. How is that going to be transferred over to what we need to do from this bank?
But, and you use Quicken or QuickBooks?
I believe it's QuickBooks, excuse me. I'd have to, again, Colleen, the expert who was speaking earlier, could have answered all those questions for you. Or you could have met with her about this and asked what she needs for this process to happen. That did not happen.
More?
Okay, we have to change that procedure because it can't be done that way.
No, I would.
Can't.
I'm sorry, can she please speak and
Sure.
then you can rebut, okay? Go ahead, Mark.
The trustee accounts and
Yep.
the library staff are not supposed to be intermingled for the purposes of being compliant with what we're supposed to be doing. It's a conflict of interest to have library employees on the trustee accounts. So we have to change that process. We're gonna have to do something about that. And
I would like to say that's incorrect information.
What does the RSA say?
That's incorrect information. We are not on the trustee account. This is the book account. It is a separate account. We are not on the trustee account.
You are on the trustee.
I
account.
am, yes. I've
So
said that
you're a
before.
library person
Yes,
on
but
the
I do
trustee.
not sign checks. I am on that account for emergency purposes only to have access to that money. If we don't have access to that money, either to deposit or pay bills, that doesn't happen. That's the only reason I'm on that account. I have never signed a check. I don't want to sign a check. And by the way, Betsy and Carol approved me of going on that account when they were chair and treasurer. If you want me to remove them from that account, that's fine, but I will express that I have concerns for the library and for the town of how those bills will get paid. That's all I'm saying. And I do think that we need to be able to pay, like we pay all of our vendors, through the library, which we do with the book account, not with the treasurer's account.
Okay. We are discussing changing financial businesses, where we're gonna do our banking, okay? Because we don't feel comfortable that the bank that we're currently with is properly handling the checks and not checking the signatures, okay? We are not discussing, obviously, if we change banks, we need to come up with a business process to do that. That's not what we're talking today about. We're gonna stop letting issues hold us back. We're not saying we're giving ourselves 30 days to do it. We're saying we are going to look into it, make a decision to change, vote, and then come up with a process, okay? You're asking for the cart to be in front of the horse. We're not gonna create a process until we know that the board is willing to move the money, okay? And that's what it is. We're not saying there's not gonna be a process. We're not saying it's gonna be overnight. We're not saying the library's not gonna be involved with it, Colleen and yourself, and you know, Donna and anyone else. All we're saying is this is a board discussion, not of how the library's gonna continue working, because it is. Whatever process we set up, the library will continue to work, okay? All we're saying, it's up to the board to determine where they want that money, where they feel comfortable. We have a liability, okay, a legal liability. If we don't feel comfortable and we think that there's a problem with the bank we're using and we continue using it, then we're responsible, okay? And that's all I'm saying. So what we're voting right now is not what's the process, not how we're gonna do it. We're voting that we're going to, in the new fiscal year, starting on July 1st, we're going to go ahead and search and determine what's the best bank locally to use and bring it to the board for a vote. And we need to get beyond this. We need to get, this is the first issue. This is what happens every time there's a meeting. Constant interruption, the director constantly has questions that continue the discussion, so we can't get to the business.
I feel that those are valid questions, though.
30 minutes of this with your own opinions, interrupting staff and interrupting our board members. You're the one delaying this.
All right.
And I will say, since you called her out of order and me out of order, I've heard Richard and Christine both speaking during this time, making comments. So if you're going to hold us to account, hold them to account as well, please.
Okay, thank you, and don't share right now. Let's get to a vote, okay? Yes, Maura.
Madam Chair, can you call the question, please?
Yes, I would like to call the question. Everyone knows what we're voting on?
Can you repeat it, please?
So
Yes.
the motion is to change the bank, the motion and the amendment is to change the banks, to consider changing the bank, but making the decision after the next meeting, 7/9/2026. So it wouldn't be changed until after that date. If we change that.
But the next meeting might
2025.
I'm sorry, 2025. I've got 2026.
I'm not
written
sure the
somewhere.
meeting will be 7/9, but we can refer it to that.
To the next meeting, how's that?
Next meeting, yeah, thank you.
Second.
Okay, roll call?
I second. For record.
Oh, thank you.
Helen Palmieri at this time, no.
Liz Thomas, yes.
Beth Morocco, no.
Well, Jan didn't vote.
Jan McLaughlin, yes.
Nancy Hendricks, no.
Christine Fitzgerald, yes.
Maura Ryan, yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Okay, all we're doing is deferring it to the next meeting. That's all we're doing. I don't know why everyone's so upset, yes.
May I make a
Yes.
request? My original request with you, which you agreed to, is when we talk about this, that we have the 3 banks in front of us that we're considering, and we have information from each bank so that we know exactly what we're getting into, because I agree with Beth, we don't wanna go from one bad decision to another one. And we can look at all of those banks and assess that information and make an informed decision. and I love the idea of having Justin come in and talk with us about what this process is. I'm just making that request.
Okay, thank you. Jan, we can provide that information?
Sure,
Yeah.
that's why I gave everybody the link. If
Yeah,
you go to the link,
okay.
Each bank shows them what they have.
We can print off the link information then,
Sure.
and then supply it. We will have that available, and we'll have it available before the, at least several days before the meeting, okay? All right.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Sorry.
Do you want to continue now?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, since we're still talking about the bank accounts, I will, respond somewhat to what was there. It's nice that there's a good long list of what, how the process is, because, it's never been, that process of how your account, the book account is done. I have signed the checks, I have written over that, I totaled up the money each month that is signed, so that I have a record of it myself. But as far as, things getting started 4 or 5 years ago versus, okay, we're here now, we have more financial ramifications of the library. The trustees are responsible not only for the book account and the trustee account, they're responsible for all monies that come into in and out of the library. And that includes the donation jars, or donations that are made, or boxes of books, or craft materials that come in and out, or books that are being disposed of, etc. All of that is considered financial, and we have to think about that. I am not trying to get my $19.20. I have not cashed the check. It clearly states it was 4 copies. We do not have Quicken or QuickBooks to process the checks from the trustee account. If we would like to do that so that you don't have to read my scrawly handwriting, I'd be happy to have us do that. We don't have that at this time. I don't know that we actually need it since we write so few checks. We do, there is often a problem with where things can get processed. I have been denied by folks. I didn't ask if you aren't there, and I ask at the front desk, can I make a copy? I am directed to the pay copy machine.
Did you identify yourself?
I did. I'm a board member. I'm making copies for tonight's meeting. Can I make copies? And they say you can go to the thing, and they've made change for me, and then I've had them sign receipts. So the first one, though, the 1920, was not here. It was at Staples, because I had to print things out there from the computer, because my printer was not working. Because we don't print them out here, we print them out at home. So that's where the 1920 was. There was a receipt, and I haven't cashed the check, so it's kind of a moot issue. The other ones are voided. They're right in the checkbook. When there's a voided check, it's written void, and it's folded over, and it's written in the check register. So I'm not sure what else to say about that. Anyway, so I will be happy to get pamphlets for the banks, for a couple of the banks. I will not get information from the Citizens Bank, because I think since we decided we're probably going to change it, I don't think we need Citizens Bank's information here. All right.
Eric?
I just would, as defense for myself and full transparency, Jan,
Yes.
I have no problem that you wrote a check to yourself. My problem is the board did not know about it. And that is greatly concerning. I have concerns that the treasurer is writing a check to herself that was not approved by the board. I can't do that. The money that you were going to make copies for were not approved by the board. That's concerning. And the board, and I share that concern with both Liz and Helen. And then you came in and accused me of telling you that you were stealing, and I did not say that. I said I'm fine.
I said that's what I had heard from people in town that had been said. So I'm just saying that's what I heard.
Nope, that is not what I said, and I have never said that. In fact, the only thing I said was that Jan did this. The board should be aware of it. We need to look at the procedures and policies. I have the email if you want to take a look at it. I'm just concerned that we are not aware of the proper way to get this done. That's all. That's all. And I think it is concerning that all of a sudden now we're changing banks, we want online banking, we're moving stuff without any real discussion about what
Okay.
that looks like.
Okay, Erin.
That's all.
Erin,
Mm-hmm.
you've made that statement.
Okay.
I understand that. My intent is, should the board, I'll be right with you ladies, should the board decide to and they have to vote on this, and we've all deferred it to the next meeting, with respect to whoever's requested that. What I'm saying is, should we decide to move the money, we'll be working with Justin. We're gonna do a subcommittee, because this is important and we need a couple of board members, not just one person doing it. We need a couple of people working on it. We'll put together a subcommittee, we'll come to get a process and then institute it, so that everyone is clear to everyone of how we're gonna do it. And then obviously, your staff and yourself will view that, because you're going to be doing the work with it.
I would
okay?
appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, Beth?
I think part of the problem with writing a check to yourself, Jen, is that it's not legal to do that. A member of the board cannot write a check to a member of the board using trustee money.
I do believe that I had said when I gave out all the papers, because I made the papers for here, that I had to copy them at Staples, and that I
But
had.
it's not legal.
Listen,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, when I wrote the check, I had commented at that time, but I have not cashed the check. It's a moot point. It has not been repeated, although I do have receipts.
Excuse me, okay.
No,
I do have
she's
receipts.
interrupting me. I was actually speaking. You called on me.
Okay, you called her action that she did inappropriately.
But I'm not
I
done
was
talking.
witness, I was there when she
But
said
I'm
it.
not done talking, so if I may.
And I'm gonna let you continue. I just want you to know, don't say that none of the other boards know, because I was witness when she said it, and I approved that. Fine, if you needed to do that, if you needed to use your personal funds, then do so. Now, I'm sorry, continue with what you're saying.
Jan, if I may, we are all equal members of this board, and we do not get equivalent time to discuss our thoughts, so I would like you to consider that as the chair. I was present, and I followed up with that library staff regarding copies myself, and she didn't know which printer. She said, you'll have to ask somebody, because I'm just not sure and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. So it's not that that person wouldn't allow you access. I had the very same question, and I just went to somebody else who had the answer, and I made copies that day with the machine that we have access to.
Beth, thank you for sharing that. Well, and I've talked to Erin, and she's gonna talk to her staff, and if someone identifies themselves as being, a board member, and they're printing stuff for the library meetings that's needed, that she's assured me that the staff would not refuse us, okay? So I think, I think this is really settled, that it was just a misunderstanding. Again, I did approve when she said that she had to write the check, okay? But anyway, we need to move on. Beth, I'm sorry, last statement, okay? And Maura, because they both had their hands up. Beth?
It's important for you to recognize that as chair, you cannot give someone permission to write a check from a trustee account. It is in our RSA. We are not to write checks to ourselves. So I don't see that as an excuse. I think we have to be really careful. We are making a lot of split decisions here that
Thank
are
you.
against the law.
Thank you for
We are
sharing
opening
that.
ourselves up
Thank
to
you for
lawsuits.
sharing that. Jen will rip up that check, and I will write the check to reimburse her.
You cannot.
No.
Is what I'm saying. It is illegal.
It's illegal for
Yes.
for a trustee who's on the signature to make
Yes.
write a check?
To another board member. It is illegal.
So should we write a check, should we send a bill to Erin and she can write a check to us? Is that what we should do?
I'm saying that it's a wash. We can't do it. You can
No.
ask for a donation from somebody, but you
No,
can't
I'm
do it
sorry.
from the account. It's illegal.
Maura?
So I have two things. I don't know which document we're on for this section, so if you could let me know, number one. And number two, I would like to suggest that perhaps we should hire a CPA or a consultant to help us with some of these issues.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on. I'm sure that Jen can wait another month for her $17, right there. I'll give it to you if you can't. I'll give it my money. Okay, next issue, Jan?
Okay. So.
Can I ask where we are just on the agenda?
Serious, me too.
Well, we're at tracking the expenses, money in the library. Okay?
Yep.
Is there a paper that coincides with that in your packet?
There are papers.
Is it the
Hold on.
about finances ones?
About finances, from the previous
If anyone
meeting.
would like a chair, there's chairs over here that you can get, okay?
And there's also a sample cash handling policy. There is a sample library donation policy. Let's see. So we have a number of papers that are involved in this.
Is it the swag and frisbee?
Oh, that's, the swag one can also be.
Okay.
These are all just sample. It's not saying that we're gonna have this policy. It's, as a result of the fact that, we asked back in February that, donations be, tracked, appropriately, that all donations be written down, that they have date and time and what the donations are. I know that when Donna makes deposits into the book account, which is where,
No.
into the trustee account, which is where the donations go, or where the fines go, which is the book account, that it says fines or donation on the slip. But the problem is we do not have a clear pathway of all to track the money so that we can say $100 was donated by Mary and for programs, and $100 was spent for programs. So that's the kind of detail we need to give to the Secretary of State's office about that.
May I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So my question is what you're wanting to do different than our policy?
It's very similar to the policy.
So are we updating the policy?
We'd be updating that policy.
So if we're updating the policy, that too needs to go on a separate agenda, and we can add that to the agenda and talk about it then. I do not believe that has to be an extensive, knockdown, drag-out conversation today. If you or if we decide as a board that we want to update the policy, we can just agree to that, put it on an agenda, and move on. That's just a suggestion.
That's the concern is that we have donations happening when things happening that we don't have, that is not being clearly written down. When Maura and I were trying to put down the data for last year as was asked, there were like 4 different books I went to get last year's data, but we really need it all in one place so that if anybody comes in and says, what are the donations you've been getting, you know, who's donated things, that we clearly have donation records.
Okay, I would like to suggest that what we're gonna do is, we don't need to vote on, you know, whether we wanna correct this or create a policy. We need to create a policy. Cause we can't, and update the policy, because we can't be sending in the yearly reports until we get a way to track the money or look at, or even see the money. It's gotta be transparent, okay? Speaking, I'll be right with you both, okay? What we need to do is, we need to say, Jan, at the next meeting, will present a form, a suggestion of how to be able to have a better management of the finances, and we will vote on it at that time, and then if we vote and approve of it, we will initiate a new program. The problem is, in the interim between now and that meeting, we need to make sure that anything that's donated or given to, any that was tracked and kept record of, and that Jan's given the information. So we need to
It's available
start.
here at the library.
Yeah, okay, or it's available at the library. We need to make sure everything is captured now. We will vote on the procedure after, but I'm just giving a heads up to the library. We need to be able to capture everything now. Yes?
Erin, help me remember, I feel that we've had this conversation in a prior meeting. You meet with, or you speak speak with the auditor who is responsible for making sure all the financials are transparent. In your past discussions, what has that auditor or whomever you report to said about capturing these donations?
Are you talking about the auditor or the
Sorry.
Attorney General's office?
Yeah, whoever it is that you
Okay,
speak
so
with.
we have to submit, I actually got an email from the Attorney General's office. Her name is Amy Nichols. I don't know who you spoke to at the Attorney General's office. I submitted the annual report for the treasurer's account. I submitted that, and the email that I got back from her said that I said, can you please confirm that you've received this document and that it has all the information that you're looking for? And she said, yes, you are all, quote unquote, you are all set with your report for the year. At no point, in fact, I had a phone conversation with her asking her, is it necessary for us to write out each donation and what that looks like? And she said, no, she actually does not want that information. So I just feel that at this point, the board, and I've expressed this, I have no problem tracking the donations that come in. I've started a spreadsheet. I've mentioned that before at a number of meetings. I am working on it. However, at this moment, I'm going to be honest, I feel very overwhelmed by what the board expectations of me are, and I haven't finished that. But I have no problem putting that report together. It's great to see that so that we can make sure that what gets donated to the trustees account, for example, if someone does a donation of $50 for books, we make sure that money gets moved. I have no problem with that. In fact, that's something we should be doing. What I'm concerned about is the expectation that the board is going to put on my staff for doing unnecessary work that we don't need to do. And we already have a policy in our collection development policy related to specifically gifts and how that procedure happens. I feel like I'm going to be honest, this whole agenda were things that were not shared with me, not discussed with me, and I could have answered a lot of them, and we could have been done with this meeting 20 minutes ago. But I don't feel. I mean, I'm looking at your documents, and one of them is about every donation of book that comes in, we have to write down. That I'll tell you right now, that's not going to happen. We get hundreds of donations a week. There is no possible way my staff can write down or count every book that we get. And in fact, every book that we get, we sometimes, I don't think that, I'm sorry, I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think that's necessary and appropriate. My staff has so many other things that they need to do that I feel like we're giving them work that, one, we don't have enough staff for or time for, and it's unnecessary. That's how I feel, and I feel then there's going to be an expectation that's put on my staff that they will not be able to do at all.
Erin, I have to interrupt, okay?
Okay.
Your job, okay, is to gather the material. Donations need to be noted, okay? Our job is to make sure that the RSAs are being followed. The RSAs clearly state that we have to have oversight of financials, of donations, of everything else, okay? We're not gonna skip any parts. We're gonna follow the letter of the law, because too long, I'm sorry, this is not public comment right now, okay? For too long, that we have, the library trustees have not been seeing or doing their job because they have not been following the paper trail or the dollars. Everyone assumed it's going correctly. And I'm not doubting that it is, but you know what? By law, we have to do it, and we now have to establish it. It's been pointed out to us several times. We need to do the letter of the law. We need to do our job. The way that the business is set up, you got the business end that the library is running and the director is running, but you have the oversight of the Board of Trustees. It's not unusual. It's done in every business, okay? The Board of Trustees is the oversight for the business, okay? So what we're just doing is saying, we have to do our job. And, I know by the faces that you guys don't think should be involved, and we think you're hindering us, and you know what? That's the law. You want to change the law? Go lobby in Concord and change the law. But until you don't do so, we are going to do what we're required to do by law. Go ahead.
One of the issues with the fund, with the money, is the donation jar is a problem because it's an open jar.
The donation jar belongs to the Friends. I've said that before.
But I'm saying it's still a problem if it's sitting in the library and there's money, because potentially money could be taken out of a jar that's open. And also having, collecting raffle tickets, that's another thing the RSA has just recently changed for holding a raffle. If it's gonna be, happening for longer than 12 days, 12 hours,
yeah.
a permission has to be gotten from, Kirsten or, Tanya, I think it is, to have a raffle. Any kind of a raffle, has to also go through that process.
May I ask a question?
Nancy.
So, in your opinion,
Mhm.
are we in compliance between your opinion, the opinion of our auditors,
Mhm.
are we in compliance with the law?
To my knowledge, we have. I've been here for 3.5 years. Prior to that, we have never been asked, we've never not provided something that we've been asked to provide.
If we were not in compliance with the law, who would have pointed that out to us besides you?
Well, I believe the Attorney General would have contacted us, which I did get an email, and they reminded me that I need to send the document, which I did. They received it. Or the auditor would have pointed something out.
If we are in compliance with the law, I don't see any reason to reinvent the wheel.
We are not in compliance with the law. We are the oversight. If Erin does it and she passes it in and there's not a problem with the Attorney General, they don't know that the board wasn't involved in this. They don't know that we're doing our job. So no, I disagree that we are not in compliance
So do you
with
know
the
which
law.
RSA we're not in compliance with?
I'm sorry.
Which RSA? I can't keep it straight.
Well,
So
okay.
which RSA?
I will,
Okay.
I have a whole, we have a
202E.
whole list of
what is
RSAs in our manual. We will share, I'm sure you have it, but I will point out
Okay.
at another time, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, we need to move on, Jan.
So, the policy that is written out, or the suggestion of a policy just goes along with the policy that we already have, but is not clearly happening from a standpoint of being able to follow from place to place. And I think that that is an issue that we need to address, and we want to be able to know where the money went, where the money comes from and goes, so we can track that. So instead of saying, gee, there's money here in the trust account that you haven't spent yet for books.
Trustees.
We would, trustee account, that that was there for books. We would be able to say, yes, there's these dollars, they were donated for books, and we can then take the money and put it in the book account. Unless we have that kind of record, we can't do that. So that's the reason for making sure that the record is happening. I appreciate that you're working on a spreadsheet. We're talking since February though. So, and I understand, but since February, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be you, but since February, I've asked repeatedly at these meetings that we need to be tracking donations. Are we tracking the donations? Do we have this written out now? Because we're trying to comply with what we were told should be on the trust information, because the trustee's account is considered a trust, even though it's not a trust, but it is considered a trust by the state. So we have to provide more detail than we currently are providing. That's what I was told. So that is, so if you're gonna implement the spreadsheet and that's what you're gonna use and that's available, and it meets the requirements, that's fine. I think that we in fact should be, if people come in and donate books, that there should be a list of who donated the books. I don't think that should be that should be even if a person writes it out, so that there is a track. So if somebody says, well, I donated books and it was worth, I don't know, whatever, at least they'd have a receipt or something from.
We asked them for one. We asked if they would like one, and they choose not to, or they choose to, and we fill that and we give that to them.
Okay, and is there a second copy, so you have a copy of what they gave?
Why would we need a copy?
Because that's how you document that you gave, that a donation was made.
I think, Erin, the point is being made that when money or product of any sort passes through the hands of the library, there has to be an accounting for it. Okay, what we're doing, we're talking about putting together a subcommittee here of trustees to determine if, the appropriate ways of setting up a process and then get it followed through, okay? If you don't have, I'm gonna be harsh here. If you don't have time to legally track what the donations are, maybe you need to take time that's being spent on a program and put that person on a Okay, guys, I'm sorry. If you don't have time to do the law, what the law requires, then we have to find the time somewhere,
Like call a
okay?
meeting about a petition rather than calling board members individually?
Were you recognized? No, thank you.
Sandra,
Thank you. I appreciate that that you're supporting your boss, but it's not the place to do it.
It's not her boss, she's a neighbor, we live in the same road, we just support Londonderry.
Go ahead.
I'm concerned, if Erin already has an answer from the Attorney General's office, that's different than, I think that's, if we're gonna go with a subcommittee, that's one of the first things we need to look at. And maybe the trustees should reach out to the same person at the Attorney General's office and get the correct information. Because we wanna make sure we're not asking more than is necessary to be done.
What they are, she submitted a report, they approved of the report. They said everything's filled there. It never went through the trustees, that's the whole point.
I disagree.
That's the whole point. Okay,
The report that I submitted was the trustee annual report that you guys approved. That's the report I submitted. It went through the trustees. You guys approved that report. It's in the town annual report, and it was submitted because it was I can't submit it until it's approved. You guys approved that report, and that's what was submitted.
and what were you telling you from now on, we're not gonna blindly approve something, we need to track it. That's what we're telling you. You're objecting to us following the law
I
and
am
doing
not.
our job.
I'm just-
Maura?
So because this is a public library and it's considered a separate form of government, everything in this library is an asset. The flag is an asset, the pens upstairs are assets. Every single asset has to be accounted for because it's public money. So every donation that comes in technically belongs to the taxpayers, so we have to have a record of it to say how it was disposed of and what was here. So everything in this library is an asset and everything has to be accounted for. Yes, it's a pain, but that is the way you have to do it. And when you read the auditor's report, there's one line in reference to the library. And the auditor also wrote at the bottom of the report a disclaimer that said, I'm doing this based off what I was told, and if it turns out to not be correct, I'm not responsible. So I don't doubt that the auditor looked at this stuff, but we have to be sure that we know what assets are coming in and what assets are going out, because all this stuff belongs to the library.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this issue is put to bed. It's a moot point. By law, we are responsible for doing this, okay? We're telling Erin, part of her job is to report to us this information. So unless,
Collect it and-
I'm sorry, what?
To collect it and report it.
Yeah, okay, so we're not gonna continue having discussion.
I'm
on
not
this.
discussing. I would like to ask the board to please email me a list of my now expectations of what you want from me, exactly what you want from me, what you want it to look like, and I will do it. But I'm very concerned about this. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, thank you.
But I want
We will-
want clear direction on what I need to do so that I'm not accused of not doing something. I need clear direction.
We will give
Please.
you that information.
Thank you.
Understand it's a fluid thing, that things come up, we might have forgotten something, so it's not gonna be a dead issue, it's a live issue, but we will continue the conversations, okay? on
Okay,
this?
I just feel like this meeting, there's a lot of things that I'm supposed to be doing, and I've lost track of what that is.
Okay.
So I'm just asking for guidance from the board and direction of what you need from me, and I will do it. And somehow.
There was more detail about specific things that need to be done, but I removed it at your request. from
Yes, because
the
you put it on the agenda for the
I put it
public,
on the agenda.
which I didn't think was appropriate.
Well,
And now we're being
Okay,
told by
so-
board members that it's not appropriate to discuss it because it's not on the agenda.
Right.
So basically,
Yeah.
we'll make sure from now on that everything is on the agenda. And we're not gonna remove it because, at a request. It's gonna be on the agenda. We're gonna follow the rules. We're gonna follow the laws, okay? And so, all right, and we need to move on, but go ahead.
So, I have for Erin or for the board to look at items that would correspond with how to collect them. They all have double receipts, so people would get a receipt, and then that information could be dealt with. It's all here. This would be for cash donations that are happening at the desks, and this would be for that. We also have to count the drawers every day, like everybody else does in businesses.
We do.
To count the drawers.
Okay, we will set that up as a procedure. We will share the tools, the way, and the library can decide what tool they would choose to do, but that'll all be part of the procedure. Okay, can we move on? Because we're still in old business, okay, and we've got,
It's 11:20.
The memorandum of understanding with the town. There's a letter from Sean.
I think that's in new business. I think we have to wait. I don't think we finished old business
right.
yet. Did we finish rounding up library expenses for FY ending June 30th?
No, we didn't, so let's talk about that. It's it looks, it's the budget worksheet that looks like this and says, budget year 2026.
yep.
What's it?
Okay,
Okay, so, in budget year 2026, we have some issues of things that are, no, it's not, does that have the total? Excuse me.
Which page are you on? That one?
This one and this one. Those
Okay,
are the two
thank you.
different ones. So, this one is the, performance report, how we have,
Did you, is that one, I don't have the performance report.
it says on the top, budget performance report.
The blue?
Yeah, everyone has one?
I do not have one.
Okay, we must have.
I guess I'll share it with
Yeah, okay.
Ellen.
so the budget performance report was printed out on 6/4. We had this at the last meeting as well. If we go through this and look at where we are, it gives us in the last two columns, percent used and the prior year total. So if we look through this, we can see areas that are an issue as far as funding. Some of the issues are have been issues in the past. Other issues have come up. One is tuition reimbursement has exceeded the budgeted amount. Now, it's okay to exceed the budgeted amount if we have money in the budget, but we should know, we should plan better in the upcoming year to put either more money in there or to give Erin what the parameters are so that we don't go over that. There have been a few years in the past where we have done that, where we have in fact gone over on that same budget line. Let's see, where is it on this one? Of course it's not blown up as much. This one has more detail on it. This one only has the part-time ones. Custodial services, legal general services, tuition reimbursement, there it is. So the second grouping on this one, the second grouping down, tuition reimbursements are there, and it shows that in 2023 we went over this by about $4,000, and we also exceeded the amount in 2024. So that's an area we need to look at. The workers' comp benefits, we're going to go past that. Management services, this is an area where a lot of the program expenses come out of, but it needs to be broken out so that we can track the program expenses. I think we have a wonderful library, and I'm not saying that we don't have, I'm not saying we don't have a wonderful library, But the programs, we need to be able to better track the program's expenses from a standpoint of there's a lot of things that get reimbursed as far as supplies. There also is staff time, how much staff time is involved with creating the programs, with developing the programs, doing the programs, going to the programs, cleaning up after the programs, all that stuff. We need to figure out the time involved so we can better tell the taxpayers why we're going to increase that line, why we need more money there so that we can in fact do our business better, because we've exceeded the management line. It was already at 97% on June 4th, and there's more money there. We also don't have a clear distinction because we're not using all of the codes. We have to work with Justin to expand the codes. So where is GMILKS in this? GMILKS is not clearly delineated. So we can say to the taxpayers, this is in fact the GMILKS part, or this is in fact the for the books and subscriptions when we go over that we can't, you know, some of it is for electronic things. So we have to break that out. There's a category to do that with. Ellen has a comment. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just confused because we've discussed this so many times. Are our hands tied? Hasn't Justin said we can't change certain lines for another year or so?
We can change them at the beginning of the year, and we have a new town manager has said, yes, we need to be using all of those other categories.
All right, Justin had told us we had to wait till fiscal 27.
Yes.
So I just feel like we're beating a dead horse if we're going to keep talking about some of these things. I hear you, hear it, but I feel like we're wasting time talking about it right now if we can't actually change it.
Because it's a change according to our understanding from the new town manager.
Okay.
That will be able to be changed, okay? Okay.
So we've gotten through management services, which includes the programs, at least the actual programs. Custodial services we're not over on that. That's been very good from the contract standpoint. Water, I think everybody in their homes, if they have gotten their water bills, it's been increased, so we need to increase that when we get to it. Printing services, I have a question about printing services. Printing services, Erin, does that include the cost of papers and copies, or is this printing services for things that have been printed outside, like pamphlets and things like that?
I believe most of it is printed in-house and contractual with our copy machines that we have contracts with.
Okay. Thank you. Because that's another one that we're over on that. So if we're going to be continually over on that with the contracts, because of the way the contract is written or because of the way we use it, then that's an area that we need to make sure.
I would guesstimate most of that money, the reason we're over is more of supplies, the amount of paper that we have to produce, not only for our library functions upstairs, but for any meetings, all of that comes out of that.
Okay. So if the supplies don't come out of the office
I would double check that, but
okay.
I believe we were trying to, again, right size what things come out of what line items. But I will double check that.
Yeah, it's important. I'll just add, it's important for us going into the new budget year that we have to, make sure that, that we adjust things. If we're under on somewhere, and if we're over, we gotta adjust and change it. The basic thing is, no matter what we put on it, whatever the town in the budget department approves of, how the amount, that's what we're gonna have to live within our means, like everyone else does. Go ahead, Beth. Did you have a question? I'm sorry. Oh, you were putting on the sweater. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So another category that was a problem as of 6/4 was postage. I assume this was getting folks to change their cards would be where postage was, but I'm not really sure. I would assume that's the reason for the increase.
Do you want me to speak on that?
Yes.
So yes, we did buy postage for mailing out the cards, the postcards. We also have to mail back interlibrary loan books from the state. That includes that, and we buy stamps, obviously, for mailing out anything. That all is included in that.
So there were some unexpected expenditures that we didn't know about and
They're
that we
not,
can
not,
adjust.
I wouldn't say that they're unexpected. We are part of the state interlibrary loan system, and that's an expectation that we return those items. How many items we return in a year can vary. How many things we mail in a year can vary. Posting costs go up sometimes once or twice a year. That sometimes we cannot plan for.
Okay,
So.
thank you. Jim?
Maintenance and repair supplies, we were already at 99%. I assume these are various contracts. We've been working on trying to get a list of the contracts so that we can view them, and I know that there's some contracts coming up before us on the meeting in the 9th. But we have to keep in mind that we're already above that at, or just right at the threshold at the beginning of June. Books and periodicals, this is an area where we have routinely gone over. I think a lot of it has to do with the cost of subscriptions for the electronic things we have like Hoopla and other things. We're hoping to be able to break some of those out so we can actually track those categories, because right now the categories don't show it clearly for in the budget, and we need to be careful that we're not that we don't go over on books and periodicals. The book money goes, as Aaron was saying, is split into two parts. Part of it goes in when the fiscal year begins, and then we've got another payment in December, and that's what funds the book account, and that's what we write checks on for books. There are some times that the books requests have been done through the town instead of the book account when things have gotten to the point where we don't have money. I think that's part of the way that we've gone way over on books in previous years, but that's where the money comes out of, is out of that.
Can I correct that, please? Can I correct that?
Sure.
So, yes, we get the two payments. They go into the book account that we have separately. However, the reason that sometimes that book line will go over is because we know that we have extra money in the budget, and so when we buy books or actually things that people have on hold or requests that we want to make sure that our patrons get, and we know we have that extra money in that account, we will spend out of that account, out of the total budget, knowing that the bottom line will be okay. We are able to take money out of that line in order to fund that, and then, still have the book account. If we go over, if we almost spend out of the book account, the separate one, and we know that we have extra money in the total bottom line budget, we will use the book line to do that.
Yes, if books are ordered, that's where it has to come out of.
Yes.
So it will show that it's there. Erin is absolutely correct. We have not gone over budget. It's just we need to be clearer with the public where we are as far as where the money actually is going. And just because there's money at the end of the year because something didn't happen or whatever else, we need to at least have a thoughtful discussion as to where that money should be applied. Does it get applied to funding GMILKs or whatever? It has to happen within the fiscal year. But there should be a discussion as to what happens, at least at the board level, I would think, for going out of the category and spending other funds.
Okay, I just want to point out, there is an RSI that says that any time that now the director who controls the budget and manages the budget, whenever she needs to now spend money that's gone beyond the 100%, that she has to clear through the board those expenses, okay? And it's just covering our, selves that we are doing that. We're asking that when you go beyond the 100%, you need, before you buy the object or spend the money, you need to just come to us and say, I need to do this. I'm not saying we would refuse her if we're within the budget. The thing is, we're trying to maintain the law of the land. This is what the RSA says, okay? So it's very clear, anything that goes beyond the budget expense line needs to be cleared by the board. Okay, go ahead.
So any other stuff? So that's kind of the roundup. Things are looking good. We have not gone beyond the budget. Aaron and her staff have done a great job with that. It's just we need to track it better. Part of it is we need to set up an MOU with the town, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment when we're ready to go with that.
Okay, I think you're next, let me see.
I'm sorry, can I just make a note? We have a program, I believe that they're using this room this afternoon, so we do need to be out of here by 2 in order for that program.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I just wanted to
Thank
make a
you,
note to the
yeah.
board.
I'm sure everyone wants to, thank you for sharing that though. Yeah, we're just gonna move this
One
along.
more bullet,
Yeah,
Jan,
I'm sorry.
funding issues for staffing, one more bullet in old
Yeah,
business.
the funding issues for staffing.
The staffing, the percentage of, that's there because the percentage of our budget, we have a large percentage on our staff, and we have good staff, and we do pay them for that, but we need to keep track of that. We also have talked about the financial ramifications of needing to know as we go through, we're supposed to approve the different changes in pay rates, etc., and that needs to come before us. It is not coming before us. You have a list of the pay changes that have happened this year, so that's another, it looks like this.
Yep.
That is the funding issue for staffing. It's just that, again, it needs to come through the board. We've been asking about that. Maybe we can make a calendar from this one about when we should be looking for the different people, so that we know that they're coming up. I know, Aaron, you tell us who's up this month or whatever, but we don't see the other end of it, the financial end of it, and that's the piece we need to see so that we can approve that. And that's the funding for staffing. The other thing is their Leach Library has salary ranges here, and so you can check the salary ranges as we go.
I would like to point out that salary range schedule you have is for this fiscal year. It will be updated for the following fiscal year that will include the COLA, and you'll get that at July.
This says revised with COLA.
Yes, but look at the year.
Yeah.
That's for this year.
24, 25.
Right, so in July, at the July meeting, you'll get the fiscal 25-26, FY26 updated salary scale with the COLAs included already,
Okay.
which we have done every year. And you've gotten it every year in the July,
So-
usually the July meeting, if not June.
Thank you. So we have this. So that is part of the thing that's in your packet. Because we've been having discussions about the amount of money that's available for the new position, and the amount of money that's there for the other position that's currently listed. So you have thing here, and we're not going to talk about positions at this point, but I just wanted to let folks know what the information is, and you have the information for the fiscal year that we're completing, and we'll be getting another one according to Aaron. So that is it.
Okay, we're
for
up to new
funding
business,
issues.
and it says 20 minutes, and that's how long we have, is 20 minutes, so basically.
I'll try and talk fast.
Yeah, if you can kind of like, I believe that you have processes in that you have, that you want to
Well,
implement.
we don't, the problem is, it's not a problem, but this memorandum a memorandum of agreement that we need with the town will spell out the who does what to whom, as far as the what approvals need to happen. Aaron is treated as a department head for the town, but that really is not necessarily accurate as far as how that works. Because the oversight for the town folks happens when the town gets they get what they call a warrant of all the expenses for the month, and then all the board members sign off that they've seen that. One of the requests would be that we should get an expense report of all the expenses that would be here's the expenses that have happened this month from the library, so we know what's happened and we can sign off on it by category.
Doesn't Donna give that to you every month? Is that the sheets that Donna gives you every month?
I don't think so.
Do you know how they would be different than what we already get?
That it would be. Oh, there's a sample in here. Hold on. There it is. It looks like this for this month.
Yeah, Donna gives you that.
This is what something like this we would get and have to sign off on it before they actually pay the items. So that's the kind of thing we'd be getting, something that has all the detail of all the things that have been expended from the town budget. That's just one of the things that would be part of an MOU. Currently, right now, it's kind of fuzzy with the town as far as who does what. We use their HR program, but obviously the HR folks refer to our personnel policy and the personnel policy and our other policies that reflect on the HR. So we have to be very specific as we look at the policies that we just have been dealing with. The personnel policy, which we're supposed to send information to Erin by the 25th. We need to make sure that we're very clear as to how things are going to be, because that is how HR will in fact deal with that. There's a letter from Tara from Human Resources in response to questions that I presented to Sean about how it would work with sick time, etc. It's like this. They have scoped out a memorandum of understanding. We do not have copies of the memorandum of understanding yet. They're hoping to have it done by do you have the letter from Tara? Yes. Okay. They're hoping to have it done so Tara's information is in response to questions on the back of the first page. Okay? They're hoping to have the memorandum of understanding finished going through on the town side, as far as the town side, looking at it, what they can do, use, etc. One item is the town has a liability insurance for board members, etc., and we are covered by that liability insurance. So I did verify that in fact we are covered by that, and that will be stated in the memorandum of understanding. One of the things I asked for from Sean was about using the possibility of using the van. If we were able to do that, perhaps we could do some delivery of books to folks that can't come into the library. So the town is looking at what that would take if we decided to do that. Aaron has a question.
Yes.
Regarding the van situation, I would appreciate if I was involved in that question. We have already started, I actually have some information regarding if the intention of the van is to do homebound delivery, which I believe the board has expressed. I have already looked into that. I don't think it's appropriate that we just tack onto the van. I mean, you're talking about staff leaving the building. Like that question requires more discussion and more involvement that I feel is kind of, again, jumping ahead of things that we have not really been planning for, and no one spoke to me about that process. We can't just, okay.
I understand what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but we can't speak to you about the process if we don't know that there's any possibility. If the answer is just no, then we don't even have that as a discussion. So that was the question was, is it possible that we could use the van for one day a week? We don't know if we're going to use it. We don't know what the process would be if we decided to use it, or if Erin did or didn't okay it, or if we had volunteers from the Friends of the Library who did it. We don't know until we ask the question about the van. And I only asked the question because they were making lists in the of the memorandum of agreement. So hopefully we'll have the memorandum of agreement by the 9th if it is finished on the town side, and we'll be able to go through it. But it'll have information about tracking the expenses. We still will look at tracking program costs. That's going to have to be part of changing the code numbers so that we have the correct codes, so we can actually quantify that versus it being in the memorandum. I mean, in the memo line for management services. We have to have a clear policy on the staff about money and transparency. If the previous donation policy is sufficient, then we don't have to add that. But we're going to have to make sure that that somehow is reported as well. And the policy of getting donations as well as getting rid of things. So if you know, you have a yard sale or the materials going to wherever, we just need to track where that goes.
That policy already exists in the collection development policy.
Right. Those policies, we clearly need to reference those in the Board of Trustees. I can't even think of the word now. The Board of Trustees. Yeah. Are okay, yeah. That we just approved last week.
Bylaws.
I just wanted
Bylaws.
I just wanted to recommend to the group, sometimes we go in circles, so if we have those things already in place, it'd be great if we all reviewed those
It's in your
soon,
binder.
and make sure we're familiar with them, so that if we come back to this as a discussion, we don't have to say, oh, I don't know anything about that, I have to look at this again, I want to change this. If Jan is spelling this out as things that need to be part of an MOU, I want to make sure we all spend the time reviewing those things in a timely manner.
Okay, the other thing I'd like to point out is that obviously we all have, Erin and her staff have a vision of being able to get materials out to people who are homebound and stuff, and we share that vision. That is not something that's going to probably happen in this next fiscal year because we don't even know what's cost, we don't know the logistics. Something like this needs to be long-range plan. We're talking about it now, finding out what's available. Now we're going to have to look into, you know, I mean, Erin's staffing is going to be involved. There's a lot of the issues, and you know, and it's not going to happen in 12 months. I don't want people to think that we're going to do it overnight. We cannot do it overnight. But if we don't start planning for it now, it's never going to happen. But, you know, because obviously, Erin needs the staffing for it. We need to know what the liabilities are, insurance, when we have the staffing delivering to private homes and stuff. There's a lot of issues that would have to go into this. This is one of our visions of the future of how we can better serve our, you know, our citizens here. And we need to start the conversation. And, you know, we both, I guess, you know, Erin's thinking and talking the conversation with some people, and Jan looked at an opportunity when they're talking about a van, you know, oh, is this something in the future we could tap into? Okay, it's just long-range planning.
Right.
Beth?
And if we have access to it, then that would be something that, you know, we could bring to Erin, whether they decide to use it or not under their plan. Yeah.
I think we need to be mindful that an emergency meeting was called at the last minute.
It's not an emergency meeting, but that's right.
And people,
Special meetings.
people drop everything to be here, and we're talking about a long-range idea about a van. I think out of respect to Erin and all the people that have jobs that are literally on pause, I think we should stick to the things that are emergent.
I was asked to go over the things that are on the,
Agenda.
I didn't write the agenda, but none of this constitutes an emergency.
Okay.
It was not called as an emergency
Hang on.
meeting,
We
it was
have-
called
Thank
as a
you for the
special meeting.
information.
We voted on one
You've
topic
made
at the
the
top of the
comment
hour.
more than once, okay?
No, it was
We,
the first time.
we're taking it into consideration, thank you. Okay,
It was
continue moving on.
not discussed that we would vote on every single item that was on this agenda. The object is for us to discuss finances, because every time it's been on the agenda, and every time we've brought it up to discuss it since February, we have not had that discussion. We'll have a brief little minute and a half or so that we'll get it, but we're off on other topics to do that. So this was it was a special meeting to talk about finances. It was not an emergency meeting, it was just a special meeting, because we just don't have the time in the regular meetings that we've had so far. If you have other ideas about what you think should be on the memorandum of agreement, that would be great if we put that on the next meeting or the one afterwards. They're calling it a memorandum of agreement, not a memorandum of understanding. And I think instead of a printout of monthly expenses, that will be called a manifest, I think is the word that Sean is using instead of a warrant, which is the term that has been used in the past. Because warrant connects with the election process that we have.
Laura, you're jumping out of your seat, did you have something to add? I could tell.
I actually was just gonna ask Jen, when do you want this stuff for the MOU by?
If we could have it by next meeting, so that we could, it depends on when we get the MOA from the town, their suggestion. They're gonna give us a list of what they're suggesting they're gonna do. It'll be detailed about, well, we will do this, but we won't do that, or we'll do this and what we'd like, we'll do the legal representation, but the legal process, but this is how we'd like to do it, So it'll be clearly stated for all those categories.
Do you know, to follow up, do you know when this is going to be done, or when we're gonna have a draft of this, just out of curiosity?
I'm hoping that we'll have a draft of what the town has, because Sean, when he did his welcome meeting or whatever his meeting, when he said, come on, meet the town manager, I asked the question about has he dealt with memorandums of understanding between either a town and a library or a city and a library, and he said he had, and he already had a preliminary memorandum set, but he wants his staff to go through it, which is what they're doing. So we have not seen it beyond that. Just we need to beware that that's going to happen. It's just going to clarify. It's probably not going to change a whole lot of things, but the whole point is if there's other things that we want done, or if it's clearly, we can put it in this and get it cleared up.
Okay, so it sounds great. So just for clarification, then you brought forward some things for us to think about. We're going to look at other things. We'll have more discussion at the next meeting, and that we wouldn't be deciding anything till a further meeting after that. Just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly. That's what it sounds like, Jan.
It depends on how it comes from the town.
Okay.
I mean, it may be the town will have it, and we don't have anything to add to it, or
Okay.
where I would say we could probably approve that at the next meeting. We don't know because we don't have it. So
I would respectfully ask them that we don't, because since we don't have it, just in case, I think we should have be afforded the time to be able to have further discussion about it, review everything, and then vote at a later meeting. Just for the record.
Okay, Jen?
I think oftentimes we discuss things for 2 or 3 months before we vote on them. I'm not sure that is.
I totally get it. Completely 100%. But if we're going to follow it for some ways, we have to follow it for all of those ways.
Christine?
So if we get the MOA 7 days prior, like we have requested for our other documents to review, I would ask that the board take a look at that and bring any changes to the next meeting. So if we get it a week ahead of our next meeting in July, that we should look at that and bring any changes to that meeting. So if we can add that to the agenda, that we will, to bring any changes to that meeting, just so everyone's
And
clear on
again,
what their
yeah,
expectation is.
we're waiting on the grace of
No, I
the
know, but I'm just saying, if we
town
get it
meeting
ahead of
provide
time,
it. Yeah.
please send it out to
Yeah.
all the trustees.
Once we get it, we should get it out to
Right,
you.
so if we get it
right
2
away.
weeks ahead of time, that's
Yeah.
even better.
Okay,
But if we get it a week ahead of time, then that's what we've requested, that all information gets sent out a week ahead of time.
And my
So-
understanding is it'll come directly from, the town manager. He'll send it out to, all of the board of trustees and Aaron.
and again, the one thing I would caution Christine is that if we get it like 4 days before the board meeting, we gotta get it out right away and we gotta discuss it at that board meeting. We can't wait another month to discuss it. We can't delay it, 30 days because we're not getting a full 5 days to see it.
So should we set, once we receive the document, if it's not a week ahead of time, should we call for a specific date to review that?
Well, we in fact, we could, but we in fact have another meeting, and we have 2 meetings set up in July. I believe there's one on the 9th and there's one on the 23rd.
Yep.
So, we do have 2 meetings that we've already preset for, to do some of the other
Okay,
items.
so if it's not on the 9th, it'll be on the 23rd.
I would
The
think
discussion.
that would, we should have discussion, we could have discussion next one as far as what we want if we don't have
Even if
their
we don't
copy.
have it, we should have discussion of what we'd like to see on it, that we can, once we get whatever the town gives us, we can then make the adjustments right away. Okay.
And Aaron, if any of your staff has any thoughts or ideas that they would like on the MOA that you'd like the town to provide that currently isn't providing for you folks, if you could bring that, or if whoever's going to come to the next meeting would bring that along, that would be helpful. Because maybe there's some things that you guys have thought of that you'd like to have covered with from the town that isn't happening, and it's the memorandum of agreement that will make that clear for that.
Okay.
Anybody have any other just questions about the memorandum of agreement? So at some point, I assume we're going to have this will have to be the memorandum of agreement once both sides have agreed to it. The town manager is going to, once we agree to it, he wants the town councilors to approve it on their end, and then we'll approve it as well. So that will get approved from both sides by the boards that are involved with that. The next one is the policy for finance. We have some differences in how we process things than the trustees or than the town. The item that I had you change out your packet was the sheet.
The approval sheet?
Yeah, the approval sheet for reimbursement sheet. Somewhere. So there's a reimbursement sheet for items, and the right down mine, yes. So it looks like this. There's 2 sides, okay? 2 sides. One is filled out with all of the things blanked out, and one's a blank side, so you know what the form looks like. So this is the form that they fill out when they're requesting a check from the town for reimbursement for personal things. We could use this with the, if we're getting this type of form, if we're getting things from the trust account, and then that would be the receipt that we would then keep and have of, who has submitted for what. You'll notice that there is a trustee line on the form, okay? Currently that part is not being used, but we could be, using that line if we choose to. So, the department heads typically don't have to have, somebody approve it, but what happens is the department heads of the town, it has to be approved by the town manager, and the, council, through the warrant, looking at the warrant, et cetera. So, that's another, thing there. We have a lot of, things that get done near this.
Yes.
Question.
I would like to point out that the trustees or the treasurer does sign this when I submit my mileage. You are the person that signs this and it's submitted. I sign for my staff because the reimbursements that they are asking for are already pre-budgeted.
I'm just pointing out that we do have a trustee line on it that you do line cut out, so it's there, we could use this form. So that's another, we have a policy, we have some items that sometimes get used, maybe we should be more consistent in using that. Any questions on that? So we have, so this is just for reimbursement, this is when we need yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Is there anywhere to put, so first of all,
This is the town form. I would like to point out this is a form that we use from the town. So any changes would have to be asked of the town.
isn't there a
We can
requirement?
have our own form, we can develop our own form.
If you want to ask them finance for that, that's perfectly fine, but this is the one that we've been
That's
using
the-
since
that's
the
their
beginning
form.
of time, to
Yeah.
my knowledge, for the town. So I don't know if that's something that we would have to ask the finance.
Right, and they're the ones that put the trustee thing, we didn't add that now.
In
No,
action,
that's been there.
So that could be used, for any expenses. So,
Just a question as far as like for checks and balances and stuff, like is there any, aren't you supposed to include like a receipt, is there a spot for that on this, or?
If there was a receipt that would get stapled to it, what happens is, if this gets scanned in, so when this gets filled out, Justin or one of the other folks in the finance office scan this in, so they have a record that this, of the information, and there usually is, a receipt attached to it. I didn't bring the receipt, I didn't attach a receipt to it because I didn't wanna give off anybody's,
So,
credit card information.
sorry, is the receipt, is it just a suggested thing, or is it mandatory? Or is there a specific amount that requires a receipt?
The town usually gets a receipt with this,
Do you want me to answer that question?
if you'd like to.
Sure. So when a patron fills out for reimbursement, this form gets filled out. They do have to attach a receipt for whatever that reimbursement is, and that receipt does get stapled to this, and I believe the finance does get a copy of that receipt. We also have a copy of that receipt.
You meant staff member.
I'm sorry, staff member, excuse me. We also have a copy of that receipt. So they do, and when it's mileage, we have to include the Google map distance or directions with the mileage on it.
So this is for all receipts?
This is for
This is for reimbursement.
So reimbursement, but you have,
Out of the town budget, this is what this is for.
no, okay, but so when someone submits this, there's a receipt attached every single time, other than mileage where the Google is attached?
Yep.
And that's what
Okay.
that, yeah. And
Laura.
Just another question on this, how many personal reimbursements do we typically do?
I can't answer that question until we get to the end of the year. These go through, Justin. I can tell you that like for mileage, we're really well under it. So there's been not a lot of mileage that's been submitted this year. Some of the things that get submitted are, would be, snacks or something, or supplies for a particular, a particular program, that has to happen, those would get approved, would get sent in through the school. So if, someone goes out to buy the supplies for today's program, they would have filled out something like this so they can get reimbursed. If we have something like this for the board, that would help with, getting information, documented for the, any reimbursements that have to happen out of the trust account.
Trustees account.
Trustees.
Should we call it the board account so we don't get confused between trust and trustee, since I know there's a delineation?
Yeah.
Should we call it the board
whatever.
account? Would that be better for people, so we don't get confused?
The board and the book account, yeah, those two
I don't
books,
know.
that would count. I think. I know it does get confusing, but I know which ones
Yeah,
money
just,
comes out.
just so we don't, so
Yeah.
it's clear.
The book and the board. I
Book
like
and the
that.
board. Better than trust and
Okay.
trustee.
All right.
So,
So where are we at now on the agenda?
almost done. So,
Okay.
just the comment that we are at the point where we're gonna have to discuss the 27 budget when I went through where we were on the current, budget, the 25 budget. I did make some suggestions as far as looking at how we fund, like the books. If we always are going over on the books, then we should be clearer about the books, how much we really need, so that, we are actually budgeted for the correct amount for that. Same thing for programs, if we are going to do the programs, and that we need to make sure we budget enough, include all the programs, including the summer program, so that we can make sure we have funds allocated for that, so that we're not just, shifting money to do that at the end of the year. That's really that. I realized that having a meeting on Saturday was not, everybody's choice to have a meeting. I appreciate all of you coming, and I appreciate the fact that we've been able to at least discuss some of the financial issues that have been, of concern, up to this point. So, I thank you for your time, and, hope we can move forward on some of these issues at the next meeting.
Laura?
Liz, I know we had talked about having Justin come in to talk about, adjusting some of the budget line items, but can he also come in to explain like some of the stuff that the town does that we don't necessarily know about? Cause like I see on here, this thing says lump sum payments for what? I don't know. So, can we schedule that?
Yes,
Okay.
that'll have to be another meeting.
Yeah.
But yes, we can do, I mean, I think it's important, especially when we're lining up to get ready for next year's budget, because, just a couple of personal, thoughts on my line is that we know that our insurance, the employees' insurance fund has really been, is going up this year, and it's gonna affect the whole, which is in the salary line, okay? And so, we're bringing on one new position that we have the warrant article and the money for, but just knowing that money's gonna be tight in this town, this particular year. I think we need to look at, we better get a handle of our programming and get a separate line and get money allocated specifically. I mean, you have the management, management line that you have, right, Erin, that you can use, but that doesn't cover everything. It just, it's, and you've had some when you've tried to increase it, you've had, from the budget committee, you've had some problems of getting any increase on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, maybe just not calling it management something, and they think, oh, it's just, this is, I mean, right now, in today's environment, programs are just as important as services in, directly going to the library to check out a book. Programs are very, very important. I know it's time. So I'm just telling you that, that's something that we have to right size, and that was the whole point of this meeting. but we need to right-size it, but we also need that to know that there's gonna be restraints on the town. And if the budget doesn't pass because too much has been put into it, I'm not saying the budget for this library, but the total budget, it's going back down to default budget, and we're gonna have to live within our means, correct, Patrick?
Yes, we also have a second member of the budget
Yes.
committee here.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Okay.
I just wanna
go
make,
ahead.
I just wanna make one, so when we're talking about the budgets, we're talking about 3 different budgets. One is fiscal year 25, that's the one that's currently ending. And then we have fiscal year 26, which we've already submitted and it's been voted on by the town, and that's what we're gonna live with for the next year. And then we also have the warrant article added to that, for the $32,310 for, our children's librarian part-time. The fiscal year 27 is the one we need to start working on, and if we want to make changes, like we wanted to suggest, changing that to a full-time position, it's in that fiscal year 27 budget that could happen. It can't happen in the fiscal year 26 budget, because we only have that warrant article to go by for the item. So there's the 3 budgets that we're actually involved with, but with 27 we have to start talking about. And last year we did have meetings on the budget, so maybe we should get our group back together and look at that, so that we can start putting together some ideas for where we want the budget. And perhaps, and I know that Erin's will be proposing stuff for that the library needs on the program side, but also on the staffing side. So perhaps we should get our group together for that.
Okay, and that would be a working group? It wouldn't be like a formal
Right.
board meeting? It would just be working on an issue, coming up with solutions, and then we go to the formal, board meeting. But it's not anything that's necessarily posted, I believe. Is it posted?
No, you would have.
So we will be doing that, okay? We'll be picking a team. Morris?
I think you have to assign new people, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Kim was chairing that budget committee, so somebody else would need to join that group as well. So keep that in mind if people want to volunteer.
I'm sorry, we get volunteers and we assign them.
Right.
Yes. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
You need to replace the people who have left the board.
Yes, yeah. Nancy?
So just a couple of things as we wrap up. Good job for us that we got this done in 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I will say that it would be helpful, Liz, when we reference, and myself included, RSAs, that we have the exact RSA available that we're referencing, so that we can all perhaps read it and understand it. That would be very helpful. I will also say that I am rather concerned that we've been meeting very consistently since March, and we have had very few, if any, discussions about programming. Memorial Day has come and gone. We had no discussion about what, if anything, we did for Memorial Day, and I'm sure we did something. Juneteenth is next week. We haven't even talked about that. I mean, and the library is closed, of course, but I understand that there is some really terrific programming surrounding Juneteenth. Well, we haven't had any discussion about that. We have talked about collaboration and building relationships in our community. We've had no discussion about that. I'm very happy to see that we're at least starting to talk about services for seniors or shut-ins. You and I share that vision, and I feel very strongly about that. Thank you for getting that information, Jan, about the van, but it would be very helpful to know if the board even supports that, if the community supports that, and then to be able to look at cost, van, if that's even a possibility, cost of the van versus mailing materials to seniors. So I think we're a little ahead of ourselves on that, Jan, but good to have that information. And I also think that all of these documents, while helpful to have, must be on the website attached to our agenda, so that all of the community can have them before they get here, if they choose to, or if they can access them, when they get here on their computers, as I have. And I think that was it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
There's one more item on the
yes,
agenda.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
No,
Okay.
are you referring to public comment?
No, the NHRSA requirements, did anybody
contract.
talk about
Oh,
that?
yeah.
I didn't know if we were.
We need to talk about that, yes, yeah.
Say more RSA.
Sean Mulholland, the town manager, Mulholland, town manager, did respond in his letter that he felt that we have enough information currently for to meet the general needs of the RSA.
Which RSA are you referring to?
The RSA for the director of the library. The hiring of the director of the library. There's been discussion as to whether we need a contract that we don't have, or if we are just with that. I know we have discussion about the position and stuff in another place.
May I speak to that? I've already gone to Human Resources, and we established that Erin's contract was in 2022. The RSA that refers that she would need a term wasn't passed till 2023, so it's a non-issue. Okay, that's basically, we don't have to say any more on that.
Good. So that takes care of that part of that discussion. So that's why it was put on the board, was just get clear.
So we do some of our due diligence, so.
More than some.
Okay, yes, and are we set now?
Public comment.
Do you think we should do public?
Yes.
Okay, if any people would like to stay, no, I'm saying if people would like to stay, you know, hey,
It's
go
already
ahead.
past time, yes.
Nora, I'm sorry.
Jan, I just wanted to ask a question. This, I know you gave out this program management sheet. Is that kind of what you had in mind, because you're trying to track how much time is spent on programming, so that
Right,
we know?
so
to
that
adjust
was
the
one
budget?
way to gather some of the data.
Okay.
It's just a suggestion. So if we had that kind of a sheet for every program, we would at least have that breakout. And if it already exists with the programs, if it's something that could be shared with us, that would be helpful so we can get the right numbers for the budget.
Laura, did you have a?
Just a follow-up.
Follow-up,
Did you want to break it down between adult and child? Do you want us
Yeah, it
to
would be good
break
if it
down
was
that?
also broken down with the categories, the age groups. Because it would be good to be able to track the age groups.
Children,
as far as
and
the-
adults and adults.
But I don't believe the budget lines in the budget numbers the category numbers that have been accepted by the state. I don't believe that they will break it out that far. But we could certainly be that could be added to that form. That's why it's just suggested.
Christine.
So the RSAs for the library director, we just referenced, they're 202-A:15 and 202-A:11, and then Roman numeral 5. And
Thank
those
you.
are in the bylaws under section 2.1.
Okay, I'm gonna open to public comment. There was sign-ups. I would ask that, you know, if someone was signed up for a second one, if they could give someone an opportunity to see who hasn't been able to speak, okay? So, who's, go right ahead, you're on the list.
Thank you, Erica. You're welcome. That's so neighborly. Happy to do it.
I'm sorry. One moment, please.
Sure.
There we go. Nope.
Says 2
We wanna
minutes,
get you
that's
your
not
full 5 minutes, so just give us a minute.
We're doing
I'll
5
take what
minutes
I
of
need
break.
and I will pass it on
I
to
can
whoever
start it if
people
you want.
wanna be there. Great, thank you. So I think most people in this room are in agreement with me that the only thing special about this meeting is what a circus it was.
Excuse me, could you
You have to
identify
announce
yourself?
Tara Miles, 11 Lancaster Drive, Londonderry. Thank you. Yeah, what a circus it became. The audacity to interrupt board members as they spoke. The audacity to speak in such a manner to our library staff and director. I would not put up with that in my own job. And I am disappointed in the behavior of some of the members of this board and the way they acted. My votes in March went to Nancy, Beth, and someone in this audience. And they speak for me. They should not be interrupted as they are delivering for their constituents. That is my voice on this board, and you should respect them. Treat them with the same kindness that you treat Moira, because you're quite kind to her, and maybe be potentially maybe a little bit more concise, eloquent, and prepared, as I've seen with Helen. The amount of time that was spent during this meeting just going on and on. Like, we have all of your personal opinions. If we were to put this meeting through ChatGPT later today, I can almost guarantee you that 75% of the time was taken up by simply 2 people here. And I suspect that that might be the same issue, that we're seeing these meetings continue to extend and extend and extend. I'd request that you prepare your remarks. I'd request that you fully vet what you're going to say. And I'd also request that you bring the town attorney or some kind of representation so that we know that we're within the law, so that we're not supposing things. I mean, it gives me great pause to understand that one of the board members today did not understand that opening an account at a bank is a business contract. When you sign on to those, there are terms and conditions. That is a business contract. So it gives me pause at the talent, knowledge, preparedness of this board that we don't know that. There were a lot of things that were supposed and a lot of things that were repeated and repeated and repeated. This is not your platform to speak your opinions all the time over people, right? Your job is to serve the community of Londonderry and support the incredible people that are in civil service to our town that make nothing. You couldn't pay me $1 million to sit in there and see the way you guys treat her and the way some of the people here treat her. And I'm thankful and I'm sorry that you have to go through that every day, Erin. So there's that. Next, let's talk about how we're sitting in 1960. And you had mentioned that there was $19.16, I believe, of something for reimbursement for printing. Why are we printing hundreds of pages of documents? There's a thing called the web, and there's probably services for folks who aren't familiar with using the World Wide Web or computers available at our library. Get those documents online so that we can read them. Now, I fully expect to go home today and start pulling every single policy that you have, everything that you have to abide by for the RSA, all of that together. And if I can't find it, do you know where I can go in my community to help me research that? My library. I will be the most expert person on your policies, procedures, and everything that y'all have to do. You have gotten my attention, and whether you like it or not, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be putting the minutes through AI to understand exactly what you're doing and who's doing it. We're going to get technology here, right? I have 1 minute and 20 seconds. Thanks, Liz. Further to that, let's talk about technology. How much did those come from Staples, and are we going to be reimbursing those? That's not a way to do business in 2025. Get her the software she needs. If you want her to do something, don't ask her to put it on a ledger. Let's invest in our community. Let's do the right things. And as for writing checks yourself and reapproving it, I understand. Nobody wants to spend $20 of their own money for the mistake that someone didn't say it. But it's against the law. Acknowledge it. If we're going to be talking about following all the laws, follow the laws, right? Finally, budget line items. We're talking about 19 cents over. That was literally brought up here for the special meeting. 19 cents. 19 cents over. That $19 check was something that was just a moot point. But that 19 cents is so bad, even though we're not over our budget.
What 19 cents?
The 19 cents that you said on the line of workers' compensation that we were over budget. You referenced workers' compensation budget being over. Yeah, factually it's over. But it's over by 19 cents.
Right, but there were other items.
Could you find it there in that paperwork? Because you can Control F on a laptop and find it immediately.
Well, I have it on my laptop, but
then
we don't use
this
technology.
Is not supposed to be a discussion.
Not using technology.
Thank you very much. I will take back that 15 seconds because this is, again, according to your procedures, not a back and forth. Okay. Respect our board members, the people that we voted for, and respect our librarians. Thank you.
Eric Lowy, 18 Lancaster Drive. I too am hitting a timer. There we go. All right, so sorry about that. Real quick. First, we have heard so much today about our obligation to the taxpayers, and that seems to be a mantra I hear at every single one of these meetings. We have an obligation to the taxpayers. Obligation to the taxpayers. Yes, you do. Yes, we care about how our money is being spent. Yes, we would like to see how that's being spent. But my God, you are nickel and diming this library to death. Literally. I am a taxpayer. I am one of all the people in this room and the people in Londonderry who have put money into this library, not to watch you sit there and say, I'm going to quibble about this and this and this. I want to know, are we getting books? Are we getting e-materials? Do we have programming for Juneteenth? Do we have programming for 4th of July? Do we have programming for Pride? Do we have programming for Halloween? What is this going to look like? And we haven't heard a word about that in months, as was correctly pointed out by Trustee Hendricks. It is incredibly frustrating, Madam Chair, that all we hear about is what you think, what you would like to opine on, and the same arguments over and over. So keeping the library golden, keeping the library a good resource doesn't just mean nickel and diming. It also means paying attention to the vibrancy and the actual work that the library does. As part of that, time management in meetings matters. I appreciate that on this agenda you wrote down time limits for everything. My God, you did not stick to it. You didn't even try to. There was no effort to. There is no function. You don't have a mechanism by which to regulate yourselves and how long you discuss. And believe me, I love consensus. I love it when people work and committees and groups work together to try and achieve a goal in cooperation and collaboration. You are so far from being able to do that. You just chase your tail in circles at this point, and it's so frustrating. The number of times I have sat in meetings here and heard you all say things like, you don't know the answer to this question, you're asking for clarification on accounts over and over, you don't know the RSA for this, you don't know the policy for that, you're not sure of this, over and over. There's no homework being done. And I know I have come up here in public comment before and said this, but you need to do your homework. You are elected officials. No, it's not a paid position. No, it's not an overly, thankful position, unfortunately. But when you come up here unprepared for meetings, it hurts your taxpayers and it hurts your library. It's mind-blowing. As part of that, the other obligation you have, beyond your obligation to the taxpayers, is the obligation to the library. And I know this came up when we were talking about things like the budget that went before the town for a vote in March, talking about what do we owe the taxpayers, what do we owe the library, how can we show our support for the library. We talked about it with summer programming too. I say we, I'm not a member of the board. Actually, for clarification, I should be very explicit, since rumors fly in this town. I am not an employee of the library. I have never worked for the library. I have volunteered here 2 days, period. Otherwise, I show up because I care. I'm not on the board either. That's fine. I am here as a member of the public and a member of the public only. So I just want to be explicit about that because I don't want any confusion. I forget where I was. I'm so frustrated by that. The fact that we hear things over and over in meetings, the fact that we constantly are having to address the same issues over and over means that we are not managing our time, we are not managing our resources, we are not managing our information well. The fact that you are not standing up for the library as part of this stuff, the fact that you are so focused on these details that you can't get your heads on how to manage that and balance that with making sure the library thrives is appalling. You are not doing your jobs. And yes, I say that as somebody who voted for several of you. I'm disappointed. Yes, again, I would also like to echo what Tara said, that everyone must abide by the law. That includes members of the board. No, you can't write checks to each other. Sorry. I understand that it's for a completely reasonable thing, and I understand that, but you are an elected official and you are bound by laws around that. No, you cannot call members of the board individually to try and get something taken down. That is also illegal. And yes, if you're saying the library needs to abide by the law, we should all be abiding by the law, and I shouldn't have to say that out loud. If we're just going to say, oh, well, I made a mistake for the board of trustees, then we need to be going with that for the library too. And if that's not the attitude we're going to take, we need to be consistent. Finally, in my last few seconds, I want to point out that people quit bad bosses. People don't quit jobs they love. People quit bosses they hate. You are the bosses of Aaron, and by extension, all the employees of the library. We have some incredibly, phenomenally talented people working in this library for not very much, doing the best they can with the resources they have. This micromanaging, this inept, unbelievably controlling micromanaging pattern is going to cost you your employees en masse, and you will have absolutely no capacity to replace them because you won't be able to find anybody who will be willing to work for you if this keeps up. This is all public. Yes, I am public right now, but everything you have been doing for the last several months is public.
Yes, Patrick.
I didn't know there was a sign-up sheet. May I give a brief public comment anyway?
Please do so.
Thank you. Patrick Alazan, 22 Summer Drive. 3 very quick comments. I promise I'll be brief. The first, regarding the account transition, I may be stating the obvious here, but having done a few of these professionally myself, in order to give the staff time to switch things over, it's perhaps worth bringing the new account up and running and then giving the staff perhaps 3 months to shift contracts, invoices, et cetera, over, since some things, after all, may be quarterly or not necessarily monthly. So just one suggestion that's actually worked well, that gives the staff breathing room sometimes to take care of individual contractors. The second thing I wanted to comment on was the issue of the annual reports that came up earlier. And so I'd like to, this is on, again, the state website. I'm not going to read it all. The applicable RSA is 202-A:12, and it covers annual reports. I'll give you the summary because anyone can look it up for themselves. Every library must report annually to the town. In 202-A:12, it says that a similar report must be filed to the state librarian. 202-A:12-A covers annual reports to the Attorney General. That section says that the report to the Attorney General shall only include 12 A through D. A through D cover, number 1, receipts, number 2, expenditures, number 3, property in the trustee's care, and number 4, bequests or donations received holding on behalf of the town. What's not included in the report to the Attorney General is E, listen to the wording here, this is specific, the total number of books and other materials added by gift, purchased in other ways, and the number lost or withdrawn. The reason I'm pointing this out is what's being asked for here is a count, not a list. And this is in the spirit of what shall the staff be required to do. Okay, a count is perhaps easier to maintain than an explicit list throughout the year of boxes of books that come in. The third thing I would just like to very briefly say is I really appreciate as a member of the public, which by the way is what I'm speaking as since you recognized me earlier for a town position. I'm here as a member of the public. I appreciate being here. I will, in a more, I mean this in the most constructive and grateful way possible, but I agree with the sentiment that you all need to get to the point faster and maybe appoint someone to just be a neutral timekeeper. These discussions drag on too long. Your last meeting went 5 hours. We love to watch and see what's going on with our library, but get to the point. And in that spirit, thank you very much.
Okay, someone who we have 2 minutes left if anyone cares to speak.
John Farrell, 4 Hancock Drive. So just a little history. Some of you may not remember that the Teamsters used to be the collective bargaining group, the union here in the library.
Mm-hmm.
They were disbanded. Just something to keep in mind. Between the town and the schools, we probably have 10 collective bargaining groups. If you wind up with a collective bargaining group, it winds up being a lot of work. So something you may just want to keep in the back of your mind.
John, could you speak up just a bit, please? Sorry.
Sure. Also, the default budget on the town passed. People in this community think they ought to spend money. It passed for the part-time librarian. They passed all the union contracts. They passed the teachers' contracts. People in this town aren't saying what they said in Merrimack. No, we're not going to spend any money. People in this town said they're going to spend money. So something to keep in mind, people want services. They said so. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll recognize you. Go ahead.
Hi,
Oh, Becca, can you come up and talk?
oh God.
No, just so we can hear you.
And just give your name and address, okay? Please?
Can I, well, hold on just a second. Does anybody know who this person is on the board?
I mean, I do.
Okay.
Upstairs. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Doesn't she work upstairs?
She is. She's an employee of my library. She is here on her own time. She is not getting paid. Just so we're clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Becca.
Go ahead.
Hi, just want to thank everybody here for working so hard.
Just speak up a little bit so they
My
can
name's
hear you.
Becca Beresin, 220 Winding Pond Road. I work at the library planning programs. Just want to thank everybody here for working so hard. I know you put a lot of time in it. I just wanted to say that I do a lot of the adult summer reading program. It's a lot of fun. And I just wanted to give some stats because I don't know if that came up yet. Sorry if it did. So we're in our second week of summer reading, and due to all the hard work of everybody, we've actually had 289 adults sign up for summer reading.
Wow.
I apologize that I don't know the teen stats or children's stats. I'm sure it's very wonderful as well. I'm just not in that department as much. We've had a lot of people attend programs. We actually have wait lists for some of the adult programs. And I know that some people had questions about Juneteenth. We actually do. I booked the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire. They're coming. I think it's next week. I apologize if that's not exact. They are coming to do a presentation. It's going to focus on New Hampshire specifically as well. And they originally quoted $500, and I was able to negotiate them to a lower price as well. So we did get a discount of over, I don't know exactly, it's like $50 to $100 discount. I'm sorry, I don't know those numbers. And I just want to thank, I know I see some staff members here, I just want to thank everybody for working so hard on the summer reading program. It's a lot of work, but it's really rewarding, and I want to thank the trustees for working hard for our library, and Erin, of course, for working hard. And yeah, I just want to say I really love this community, and I love all the people here who care about the library. I know we all do. And yeah, it's been a really fun, rewarding experience.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call adjournment of this meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Second, vote?
Oh, yeah.
Aye.
Aye, yeah.
That's
Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much.